Sunday and we are going to do a roast today at home. So I'm just prepping the vegetables ready. We're going to have it at dinner time this evening rather than lunchtime. So I'm just prepping the veg ready to turn it all on in a short while. So let's get on with that. So the veg we are having are carrots, swede, cabbage. I'm going to do Slimm and Well friendly cauliflower cheese, and we're having tender stem broccoli too. So I'm just going to prep this all up. We are having Slimm and Well roast potatoes, which are in the freezer, and we're going to have some beef. But as I say, I'm getting the veg ready first. I'm just peeling my carrots. I think I may actually change the camera angle so you can see what I am doing rather than just me and listening to the sounds. So I'll be back in a minute. Okay, that's better. You can see what I'm doing more. I have an old tub before I was on Slimm World that I keep to put my veggie peelings in because it makes it easier than keep going over to the bin. I can just take my tub at the end with all my scraps in. Missed the pot a little bit there, but it's okay. I'm doing 4 carrots for the 2 of us. This carrot is a bit past its best, so good job it's at the end, because I don't need to use that. So I'll just chop that bit off. Wouldn't normally waste that much, but as you can see, it's a bit funny. So we'll just get rid of that. A little bit that needs peeling extra off. Add a bit of a dip in it. I hear Bella going in or out the cat flap. You cut them like this, it gives a nice surface area and you get the best carrot taste because you've got so much of the core in each piece. Let's pop these over in my pan. So the veg here, as always, are speed veggies. Will be the majority of our plates. Get the protein from the beef, and having the Slimming World friendly potatoes is not going to add swips, but I will do a little bit of gravy for some swips. I don't have any horseradish sauce, so a little bit of gravy will be nice. Mismatched carrots are in the pan. I'll take you over to the pans afterwards. And we're going to do about a third of the swede, I think. Let's peel this into our scrap pot. Love a bit of mashed swede. Could dice it and put it with the carrots, but I'm going to mash the swede, so may have a little bit of swips there with a little bit of butter in them, but it's going to be a healthy roast on plan. There we go, not too bad to peel that. I'm just going to dice this up as it's going to be mashed. The bigger bits I'm going to cube up a little bit smaller so it boils easier. So a couple of these bigger bits, just cut them down. So they're cubed. There. Okay, that's our swede done. Let's pop that in a pan. Okay, so next I'm going to do the cauliflower. Just got a small one because it's just for the two of us. Get some of these leaves off. In my scrap tub. Cut enough of that base off. There we go. It's going to make it easier. Seen a recipe that I'm going to use with using some seriously strong light spread and some reduced fat cheddar, so there will be healthy extras in that. Break these off. Wasting any of these. carrots there. Once you've got that core base off the bottom, you should easily floor it off, which they are. Might be a little bit of core waste at the end. Just going to make a nice little cauliflower cheese for the two of us. There we go, let's pop that in a pan now. Now we'll do some of the cabbage. I think I'll do about half of the cabbage. Nice Savoy. Let's chop that end off. Try and shred most of this. Too many bits of the hardcore. Looks about nice for the two of us. Put that in that pan. Break it up a little bit. Lovely. And then all there's need to do is the tender stems. Get those prepped up. And these will be in the steamer. I'm not going to waste any of this. If I'd like to cut up the stem shorter, we can eat that bit too. I always like to cut off the very ends. Just because I can sometimes find that they're a bit not as fresh with that bit on, so I like to give it a fresh cut. Oops. Do all the ends first, it'll make it a lot easier for me. we go. It's over there. So that's my veggies prepped. I'm just going to flip the camera over and show you them in all the pans. So here we are. We have the swede in here. I'll top them with water in a moment. We've got the cabbage in here. Lovely. We've got the cauliflower in this one. We have the carrots in here, and then in the steamer, which sits on top of this, we have the broccoli. So, the tender stem broccoli. So I'm going to just fill these up with water and sit that on with the lids on while I wait for starting off the rest of the dinner slightly later on. So I've just topped up my pots with some water and seasoned with a little salt, popped the lids on, and they're on the correct rings to boil up later. So the first thing to be cooked will be the cauliflower, because obviously I'm making that into a cauliflower cheese. And obviously I will not put the tender stems on because they'll only take 6 minutes being steamed. So the carrots will be boiled up first to a certain limit, and then we will add the steamer on the top. But this is just to keep it free from any germs or any mischief should the cat decide to jump up, which she sometimes does. When I come to make my gravy later, I am going to make it with a rich beef stock pot, which is actually free. There's no swips in that, and I am also going to use, to thicken it, some Bisto, and that's a swip for a teaspoon, so not too drastically bad for us, but as there's only 2 of us, I'm not going to make a stack load of gravy because I don't really have a lot. So Bisto, you tend to put half a pint, so that's what I am going to make, and that's 4 teaspoons of the Bisto powder. So split between 2 of us, that would be 2 swips each. So yeah, I just thought I would speak you through what I'm going to do with the gravy later on. We like to warm our plates up, so we have this electric plate warmer. So I will pop the plates in there, so when it comes to dishing up, we're going to have nice warm plates to put the dinner on, so it doesn't go cold so quickly. So they just slip in like this. There's one on the bottom, and we'll just slip that one in there on top. There we go, and we switch that on at the wall, that one there, oh, and they will warm up nicely, ready to dish up. I'm just going to prep ready for the sauce for the cauliflower. So we have a tub of Seriously Lighter. Now half of this tub is a Healthy Extra calcium choice, and then I've got reduced fat cheddar here, and you can have 40 grams as a calcium choice, but I think the size dish I've got for our small cauliflower, we may only need 60 grams, so we'll have slightly less than a full calcium choice with this. So I'm going to grate some of this up, ready for making the sauce for the cauliflower cheese later. So I'm using Mature 50% lighter. I'm pretty good at knowing how much 30 grams is. I tend to go for 30 grams instead of 40 grams because full fat cheddar, you can have 30 grams as a Healthy Extra. So I don't tend to change the amount when it comes to cheese because I don't want to confuse myself if I get the full fat cheddar instead of the lighter. So I actually go by strokes down the grater and I count to 30, and it tends to be pretty much accurate. So we're going to use 60. So let's break this count in my head. That should be half of the amount I need. That's another 30. So we should have around about 60 grams there. I'm going to get my scales now and weigh this out. And let's see how well I did. So here are my scales. I just need something to put the cheese into. Let me just get a dish. Pop that on there. And put the scales on. So they're zeroed. Okay, that's away. Let's not waste any of this that's on the top because food waste. I don't like it. There we go. Let's see how well we did. Nicely grated. Nope. 54 grams. So I told you it's roughly a good way to get near enough what you need. So I need a couple more grams. So I'm going to grate a little bit more. So I need 6 more grams. So let's do that and see where we are there. Again, let's not roast those little bits that popped on the top. It doesn't look like a lot, but it does certainly weigh some. Perfect. 60 grams, bang on. So that is amazing. Let me just take you over there and you can see. Oh, it says 61 now, so I'm about to take a little bit out of there. There we go. That's 60 grams. It's exactly what I need. So everything is prepped for me to start later. I've got my dish ready for my cauliflower. I've got my grated cheese here. I've got the lighter cheese here. Cabbage ready to go. Swede ready to go. Cauliflower ready to go. Tender stem ready to go. And carrots ready to go. There's my instructions. I've got the Bisto waiting. I've got the stock pot covered up waiting. So I'm all ready to start later on. Now, after prepping everything, I think I should sit down with a nice cup of coffee and just relax for a little bit before actually cooking the dinner. So we'll see you in a bit. So it's 4:30 and I've just come in to turn my oven on, ready to cook the roast. We have a fancy oven, although it's second hand. It's a dual fuel oven, so the first one I need on 180 and the second one I need on 210. So there we go. You see it's got this special shelf in that splits the top from the bottom, and we can have the bottom warming to 210 and the top to 180. So I'll come back in a bit and I will show you me prepping the beef to go in, and then also getting my Slim and World roast potatoes ready to go in. Just realised I've put them round the wrong way. So I've just changed it to the 180 at the bottom, which is where the beef's going to go, and the 210 at the top where the potatoes are going to go because they need a high heat. And as you can see, it is up to temperature, so let's go get the beef ready to pop in the bottom of the oven. So here's this extra lean small beef roasting joint that I saw, which looked beautiful in the shop. So I'm going to unwrap this and pop it in this roasting dish. So before Slimming World, we used to get a lot of ready meal deals from various supermarkets, and instead of just recycling these aluminium dishes, we keep them because they're really useful until they're worn out. So this is just going to be perfect for that joint of beef. So let me get that unwrapped. So there it is. We are going to have it rare, so it will be 40 minutes on 180. So that's what we're going to do. Let's pop it in. Let's take it over to the oven. As you can see, it fits in this aluminium tray perfectly. So it's going in the bottom. Let's open the oven up. There we go. Let's put this little beauty in. And goodbye, little joint. 40 minutes and off she goes. So back over to the oven to preheat that tray for the roast potatoes. And that's going to go in the top here for a few minutes. I'll get my oven gloves ready. So I don't want to be pulling out a great hot pan. There they are. So I've got a trivet ready to put the hot pan on. The potatoes are there. And I've got my low calorie cooking spray, which is 1 calorie per spray to spray on the potatoes when they go in the oven in a few minutes time. I've just taken the tray out of the oven and it is definitely preheated. So I'm just going to place the potatoes back on and then spray them with the low calorie spray. Just make sure that they're evenly placed. That should do nicely. Let's take the lid off. Give them all a little spritz. There we go. Now we're going to put those in the oven and they will be in there between 30 and 35 minutes at the 210 degrees centigrade. Now I'm going to start the swede and the cabbage off because they will take longer. So let's put those on. Now we're going to put them on gently to bring them up to a boil before dropping them down to a simmer. So I've just taken these out of the oven to switch them over. Just do this with a pair of tongs. Chose a couple of odd shaped potatoes here, and we'll do our best. Let's make them over a bit. There we go. And we'll give them a little bit of a spray of the 1 calorie spray on the other side. want them to be nice and crispy. So now they've been turned, sprayed, they're going to go back into the oven for the second half of their cooking time. The Savoy cabbage and the swede are simmering nicely. I've turned them down, as you can see. I have now put the cauliflower on to bring that to a boil, and I've also put the carrots on too. To make the cheese sauce to go onto the cauliflower, this will need to be melted first. So I'm going to put it in this small little dish I have and pop it in the microwave to melt this up, ready to go on the cauliflower. I've just taken the beef out. Now I'm going to cover it with foil and let it rest. There she is, all covered nicely. I am melting the Seriously Lighter in the microwave, ready to go on top of the cauliflower. And there it is, all melted. You can see it's just started going brown on the edge. It smells incredible. So I'll get the cauliflower drained off, popped in here, topped and then covered with the reduced fat cheddar, and pop it in the oven. There's the cauliflower, all looking beautiful. Now I'm going to dress it. So the melted Seriously Lighter has gone on to the cauliflower, and now I'm topping it with the 60 grams of reduced fat cheddar. I'm going to carefully put this on. This is going to be yummy and very cheesy. But you didn't think cauliflower cheese could be so healthy, did you? But yeah, this is on plan. It's got 2 calcium choices on it. And with the way that Slim World has gone, you have 3 healthy extras. So if you want 3 calcium, no fibre, then you can. You don't have to have your healthy fats or your fibre, you can have it all as calcium. Or you could switch things about, have some fibre, have some healthy fats. I tend to only have fibre or calcium, so I'm not a fan of having too much that's fatty. Just take those last little bits. So I am going to put a little bit of cracked black pepper on the top. Now, can I do this one-handed? Oh, yep. Yes, I can. There we go, just a little bit of crack of black pepper before I pop it in the oven. So as you can see, I've popped the cauliflower cheese in there, and at the top the potatoes are cooking beautifully. I have added the steamer on top of the carrots with my tender stem broccoli in. So everything is on to plan. The cabbage is pretty much done, so I've just turned that right down low, and the swede is also cooked beautifully, so I am going to mash this now. So I'm going to use a couple of swips up now because I like glazed carrots. So we have a teaspoon of, roughly a teaspoon of butter. You can see it's not really a full teaspoon, just a little pinch. There we go. And I'm going to put in a teaspoon of brown sugar just to glaze the carrots off. There we go. So it just gives a little bit of extra sweetness to the carrots. We'll do this on a very low heat. So shake that about. And as you can see, the butter has dissolved and so has the sugar and just glazed nicely. Just measured out half a pint into my jug with my stock pot, and I'm going to add the gravy granules on top to thicken this up for us. And there we go, there's our nice rich gravy. It's a thin gravy, not too thick, could be a bit thicker, but I think this is a nice consistency myself. Be nice to go over the veggies. What the hubby is carving the beef. Let's see what it came out like. Look at that beautifully cooked beef, nice and rare, perfect, rested nicely. Time to dish up and eat. Everything is done. The potatoes have come out beautifully, and don't forget, as these are Slimming World ones, they are free, no swips at all. And look at that cauliflower cheese. Doesn't that look great? It's dishing up nicely. Here is the final roast. I'm just having the gravy added. I like it on my Savoy cabbage. Don't have too much, but there we are. A very Slimming World friendly roast, and the only swips are in the gravy. Cauliflower cheese, as you will have heard, has been made up of healthy extras, so a very, very on plan roast dinner for a Sunday. I'm going to go and enjoy this now. Our roast dinner today was delightful. It really hit the mark, and as you could see from the plate, it was very full and absolutely filling indeed. And being completely on plan, we have no guilt for eating such a plateful of roast. The cauliflower cheese, Slimming World style, was the first time I've tried that, and it is something I will be doing again and again. Hubby said it should be the way cauliflower cheese is always made and never go back to any other way. So it was such a winner, and I cannot wait to the next time we do a roast. So if you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a like, give me a subscribe if you like what I'm doing, and leave a comment about how this meal made you feel. Until next time.